Afternoon, Hijetters. Today I thought I'd make a wee video on how to change your brake discs and pads. This is for a 1.3, but I believe the 993, which is that style, the headlights, it's pretty much the same. So first of all, as always, I'm doing this one-handed, so there'll be a lot of stopping and starting with the video, I'm afraid. I'm not going to tell you how to suck eggs. I'm assuming you know how to jack up the vehicle and take the wheel off. Now, because we're changing the discs as well as the pads, you're best to do this first. So that's 17mm bolts. I slacken the four of them. Admittedly, I have an impact gun, much easier, but you can just use the socket set. Secondly, this bolt here, castellation nut. Okay, now this pin here will be in there. Need to remove that. Sometimes they're bent back. You can see it's slightly bent. Tap it through like that, and then I think it was a 32mm bolt. Slacken off. Right, next job is to go back to your brake fluid reservoir and loosen the cap pretty much off that and just leave it nice and sitting there. And get back to your wheels again. Now, if you're only changing the pads and not the discs, then next stage would be 15mm socket. I've already done this to make it a wee bit easier. Using this bolt to get right out, and then with a 15mm bolt at the bottom, pull that out. Okay, now at this point I'll be taking a picture of your brake pads. So this spring here and these pins here, which we'll come back to once we've got it off. Now, sometimes they just pull off, but this one's a bit rusted, so you can tap it several times with a hammer. Now, top tip, if you can, I'm not going to be able to, but if you can get a screwdriver or something between there and there, between the pad and the disc, this would be a good opportunity to push this piston right back now. But these are too rusted, and let's be realistic, if you're in the UK you're going to be the same as me, so just tap the caliper off. It'll probably fall and put a wee bit of strain for a short time on the hose pipe, but don't worry too much about that. There we go. Hold up as much as you can. So now, with a pair of needle nose pliers, pop this out, and same with the bottom one there. So that's it out, and then like I said, comes out that hole there, and same with the bottom one, right down there. Put that aside, but remember which way around it goes. Right, so this is where the fun begins. So like I said, if you live in a hot climate, this pin here will probably not be rusty and they just slide out. You should just be able to pull it out like that. And same with the bottom one. However, like I said, if you live in the UK or like I do way up in Scotland, these will be rusted and probably quite difficult to get out. As you can see, they're not even moving at all at the moment, so I'm going to have to get a pair, probably mole grips, and clamp them on and twist and release them, and I'll show you that in a second. Right, Hijetters, I'm not going to lie to you, that was a bit tougher than I expected. Like I said, typical British weather and rust. In the end I had to use a bit of heat and these mole grips, and I just had to keep wiggling it like that. Eventually the top pin comes out like that, the same with the bottom pin. but you get the point anyway. And put those pins to the side, top and bottom. There we go. And you can see how badly rusted that was. But yeah, put them to the side and clean them up and come back to them later. Okay, so next stage. Appreciate not everybody's got one of these. This is hydraulic ram. I just shove it in there, pump it up, and that pushes my piston back for me easily, and that's why we back up there. That's why we take the cap off, because you're pushing the fluid all the way back up to the cap. So you push your piston back in. Secondly, make sure your slider pins are easy to move. You should be able to do it with a finger, no bother. If they're not, and unbelievably they're not on this one, you need to just pop those black rubber caps off, take the slider pins out and just grease them up. But like I said, I'm amazed that they're working fine. Right, okay, so like I said, this next part's only if you're changing your discs. You don't always have to. A good mechanic probably will. There's arguments for it. Yeah, these aren't too bad, but just force a habit, I do it anyway, for all it's worth. So remove the 4 bolts plus that castellation nut. This comes out and your disc comes off. And just while you're at this stage, you might as well check it. This would be a good chance to check the bearing on your hub now. So you want to turn that, and first of all you're listening for any rough sounding, because in behind it is ball bearing, so if they're sounding rough, then your bearing's gone and there shouldn't be any play. You should be able to, I can move that, well no I can't move it, that's the whole point. You shouldn't be able to move that, there shouldn't be any play in that at all. And like I said, when you rotate it, nice and smooth. And that way you know your wheel bearing's good. So put your new disc on. I know this one looks a bit rusty, it's actually new, it's just been sitting in a garage, it's got rust moist on it, that's okay. So put your disc back on, put your hub back in, and make sure the holes line up with those 4 there. So these 4 will line up, and then put your bolts back in. And then your nut back on as well. Okay, and that's the castellation nut back on and the pin back in and bent right back down, as you can see. So at this stage you should have something like this. Your piston should be right back in its housing. You can put the 15mm bolts back in, just to hold the caliper in place. Don't tighten them right up just yet, but just put them finger tight. And now we shall go back to the pins, because these need majorly cleaned up with sandpaper. If you've got a very fine gosh, I've forgotten the name of it, a Dremel gun, that's what I was trying to think. So use your Dremel and take all the rust off these, and I'll show you what it should look like in a minute. Okay guys, so that's the pins being cleaned up. As you can see, completely different from before, and you'll see how much easier it is to put them in than taking them out. So at this stage though, you now need some copper grease, this stuff here. Put it on the back of your discs, your pads even, sorry. Probably being a bit excessive here, I don't think you need as much as this, but it's just me, stops it squeaking, that's what this is for, stops them sticking. You can try and put a wee bit in the hole there. In the hole, a wee bit in that one as well. And no harm putting a wee bit just around the rim there. Careful not getting it on the actual disc itself though. And take one of your pads, make sure it's right way round, and just slot it in like that. Voila. Take your second pad, also slot it in like that. And take pin number 1. Wouldn't harm to put a wee bit at the end either. And then back through the hole, back through the hole in the pad. And so I'm doing this one-handed again. Back through the other hole in the pad and back through the other side. There you go. You can see how much easier that is to put in than it was to take out. And the same for the other bottom pin. A bit at the bottom, copper grease, and just slide it through. Again, apologies, I'm doing this one-handed. There you go. I do have a bit of copper on the disc, but I'll clean all that up later. And all that's left is to put that spring, which I've lost. I'll find it in a minute. Put the spring back on and make sure your holes are lined up, which I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so that's the spring refitted. The pin's secured in there by that pin, by that spring. At this stage, you probably have a bit of play, like so. That should spin nice and freely, like it is. And now, what you want to do is pump your brake pedals a few times. Probably go to the floor first couple of times. Do that until it gets stiff. Do this actually at the same time. Keep your foot on the pedal. Try and twist it, you can't because the pads are secure. Foot off the pedal. And it turns. So if you stayed and watched the video to this stage, 2 things: you are now an expert on Hijet brakes even, and the best news is you get to do all again on the other side. And then the final part, don't forget to tighten up that 15mm bolt, and then the bottom one as well, 15mm. Wheel back on and you're good to go.